Welcome back to r/LegalAdvice, where we read surprisingly interesting stories that usually don't end in a cliffhanger. If you are new to my channel, please feel free to subscribe to join our awesome community, and without any further ado, let's dive right in. And the next one is titled, Indianapolis, I have decided to file for divorce and I want to pursue full custody of our children. How do I maximize my odds of success? I will try to be succinct. My wife has been a serious alcoholic for years. She has been in treatment and she has been hospitalized. She cannot keep a job, she had a DUI and she has not worked in over a year. She is a complete mess, and with the most recent incident, I cannot just keep subjecting my children and myself to her. Last night I received a phone call from the police. I was at a board meeting at my social club and my wife had arrived at my kids' summer program to pick them up and was completely drunk. The staff encouraged her to take an Uber. She refused. They called the police. When the police arrived, they tried to convince her to not drive and she became belligerent with them. Needless to say, she's now in county jail waiting for arraignment and bail, I assume on some OWI, and by the way, if anyone knows what that means, please let me know in the comments, and endangering minors charges. Of course, I left the meeting to pick up my children and brought them home. I have taken the day off work today and I am shopping lawyers on the State Bar Association site. I find that I am completely out of my depth and this forum has been so helpful in the past. First, how do I select the right divorce attorney? My plan was to meet with the 3 best candidates and choose one, but I don't know what criteria on which to judge them. I also sent an email to our DUI attorney asking for a recommendation, but now I am afraid that I might have exposed him to a conflict of interest. Second, what can I do now, or what should I not do, to ensure that I have the best chance of getting full custody of my children and protecting my assets? Next, how will my wife go about securing an attorney when she really does not have any income independent of me? How can I make this process the easiest for my children? Is there anything else I should know or be prepared for? A user in the comments said, after my parents divorced, my mom had full custody while my dad had visitation. He thought he kept his alcoholism well hidden from us since he kept a job and never drank around us. But I still got a depressing drunk call every birthday and holiday, including old drunk dad slurring away on Christmas Eve. It was horrible. Friends had to comfort me at my birthday parties. After I talked to him, my stomach would drop when the phone rang. I almost refused to go get my Christmas puppy because I was face down on the bed sobbing after another humiliating drunk call. Thank you for protecting your kids and don't forget to keep an eye on the little stuff like phone calls once your wife is on visitation only. And guys, by the way, do you have any friends that are addicted to alcohol? In my personal opinion, alcohol is probably one of the worst drugs you can take, or rather consume, and obviously it's even more shameful that it is so widely available. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And the next one is an update to the drunk wife story. After posting last week, I called up some lawyers. I ultimately met with one who was recommended by a friend. He has been fantastic. He met with me the same day after hours at our social club. He walked me through the process and the following day filed the petition for order of protection, which was granted. My wife was held in jail for observation because the cops were afraid she would go into DT. She was released Saturday. I called her parents and explained the situation, and her mother came by for some things and then picked her up and took her back to her house. That is usually where she goes to sleep off a bender anyway. Per the protection order, my wife has to be supervised when she's with the kids, and my lawyer advised me to let her see them occasionally so that I cannot be accused of alienation of affection. I have taken my kids over there a couple times and it has been uneventful. My daughter, the youngest, has made comments about how nice and quiet things are now, which broke my heart but convinced me that I was doing the right thing. My stress levels in some ways are so much better than they were before. This week I have slept better than I have in probably a year. I don't have to worry about her, I don't get calls to come pick her up in the middle of the night, and I don't have her storming around the house shouting in the wee hours. Thanks again, LegalAdvice, you have been a real godsend. And guys, if you enjoyed this rather wholesome story, please post some stars in the comments and also like the video to support me. Thank you so much in advance. And now let's head over to the next story. The first one is titled, I shot a man this month in Texas, do I need a lawyer? I live in Texas. Sometime during this month, I know the dates, just not going to share them, I got a text message from a friend. It simply said, help. She does not normally text me, it is odd. Also 7 years ago, her ex-husband beat the crap out of her and went to jail for it. He has been out of prison now for a couple years. We live out in the country, so I grabbed my gun, called the cops and raced over to her house. I live 2 miles away from her, the cops are further. When I got to the house, I saw the door was wide open. I went inside the house and heard screaming, crying, basically a fight happening. I went into her bedroom and found her ex-husband beating the living crap out of her with everything he had. Blood was everywhere. I told him to stop it. He turned around and made a move towards me and I fired. I did not stop until I ran out of bullets. I called 911 again, told them I had shot a man, my gun was on the dresser and I was with my friend who had been beaten up really bad in her bedroom. The cops came a few minutes later, ambulance and fire right behind it. I was immediately arrested. My friend could not even talk at this point. The cops treated me with respect and I spoke to a detective. I told him what happened, why I did what I did, and he said he's going to need to confirm some things. I sat in his office for like 8 or 9 hours. He said that my friend had confirmed my story and I was being released. He advised me my gun was going to be held as evidence for a while, however, also made sure to mention if I had another gun or if I wanted to buy another one that I could, and I was not currently being charged with a crime. Nothing has changed yet about that. It seemed like he was calling this a case of self-defense and I was in the right. My friend ended up making a full recovery. Currently, her husband and her are living with me as she just cannot live in her house right now. It is too much for her. I was not sure if the ex-husband had died or not. However, a few days after I found out he was holding onto his life. It has been a little bit since then and he's still alive and making a recovery. A mutual friend the other night mentioned I should go ahead and retain a lawyer. He said once the ex-husband makes a full recovery, things can change and I might need a lawyer. He is no lawyer himself and what he said makes sense, but I'm wondering, do you guys think I need to go talk to a lawyer? And if so, what kind? A criminal? A defense? Or what would be my best option? I have 2 big fears right now. Number 1, I get sued for his medical bills, etc. Second, he changes his story and charges are pressed against me for shooting him. Also, normally I don't do drugs, but after what happened I was really shooken up. I still am. However, I smoked weed. I'm worried about that too. Think they might drug test me. They did have me blow on the night of the incident. I had not had anything to drink that night. A user in the comments said, I would stop doing anything illegal like drugs until he is awake or passed because you're going to be in the police's view anyway. And guys, I'm curious, what do you think about this story? Do you think the original poster did the right thing? Let us know in the comments. And the next one is an update to the shooting story. I thought long and hard about deleting the post, but where I live I don't suspect many people use Reddit and I did change details of the story. Anyway, my lawyer kept me updated. He said at the start that he does not think we will ever see the inside of a courtroom, much less any legal notices. My lawyer was willing to take my case up pro bono, which I respect. I am not sure the exact time frame, however, last week my lawyer contacted me and advised me that the attacker had passed away due to complications. The DA has informed my lawyer that no charges will be pressed. The family of the attacker wants nothing to do with him or this incident and have even called me to apologize for what the attacker put myself and the victim through. So, the situation is over. I've had some issues coping with the whole incident. I would not wish this on my worst enemy. Due to the advice of my family and friends, both the victim and I will be seeking therapy. And guys, one thing I was wondering about in the last couple of days, What is your favorite topic when it comes to legal advice? Feel free to let me know in the comments. And the next one is titled, Sold an old truck 3 years ago, buyer had an accident and victim is suing us since buyer never filed title. Florida, US. My hubby sold an old truck we no longer needed. We were downsizing and moved out of the country for about a year and a half. This was 3 years ago. My husband signed over the title and was paid in cash. The buyer never submitted or filed the title. The claim is that we allowed this person, the buyer, to drive the truck and his accident is somehow our fault. The accident occurred out of state. We did not keep any of the paperwork regarding the sale. We could probably go back and look for a deposit in the amount the truck sold for and insurance records that show when we took the truck off our policy. But what would that prove? Do I need an attorney? And a user in the comments said, probably yes, you need one. You will need to prove you no longer own the truck as the owner is a legit target in a lawsuit. And guys, did you ever have any bad experiences when it comes to either buying or selling second-hand items/cars? Let us know in the comments. Next one is an update to the truck story. Thanks to all who sent in advice, we contacted a local attorney who advised us to first contact the firm suing us on behalf of the insurance company of the victim. Our attorney advised us to gather as much info about the accident as possible. I tracked down the accident and incident reports and got copies and a copy of the owner's mugshot. Turns out, written in both reports, the truck owner admitted he had just bought the truck that day. He was arrested for DUI and served time in jail. He was also driving with a suspended license, so the firm out of Jacksonville is dropping the case. Lesson to all, keep your bill of sale and file the Florida form within 30 days that absolves you of any responsibility. And actually, that is some very smart advice it seems, and it should be easy to follow. Last one is titled, 33 male, my girlfriend 25 female, is obsessed with psychedelics and her spiritual journey. We have been dating for 3 years on and off due to studies abroad and we have similar interests and we studied in the same field, so we have a lot in common. We have a great relationship overall and we are very transparent and open about everything. The thing is, she has a history of addiction, amphetamines, but she has gotten past it many years ago and it was only for a short duration, 6 months. I was okay with that since she has matured and does not do anything anymore and barely drinks alcohol. The issue that has aroused recently is that she experimented with some hallucinogenic drugs such as magic mushrooms, truffle and DMT while abroad studying in Amsterdam. Now, over the past 12 months, it is all she talks about. She says how it is not addictive, how it can solve depression and other mental issues, and how it showed her this other dimension and so forth. At first it piqued my interest and I thought it was fun to discuss and for her to share her experience. By the way, if any of you guys are familiar, that girl sounds like Joe Rogan. Next she's gonna talk about elk meat. But anyway, let's continue. But now it is all she talks about. We used to talk about our hobbies, working out, gaming, movies, etc. But ever since she came back, all she talks about is these psychedelics. Her next move is to grow her own shrooms and get a hold of DMT again here in Poland. I feel like I'm slowly losing her. She wants this so-called breakthrough by experimenting with these drugs, and even though the drug itself is not addictive, I feel like this obsession for a breakthrough is. We have talked about it and she just gets upset and frustrated and says that I don't understand and never will until I try. I don't know how to proceed, I don't want this to be a deal breaker, but at the same time I don't know if this phase will ever end. How do I go about this? A person in the comments said, in regards to the common/similar interest thing, making sure that you have common values and interests is fun, but this does not make a relationship. By the way guys, what do you think? How important is it to have a lot of common interests in a relationship? Can you still be together if you like completely different things? Let me know in the comments. And now the update to the psychedelic story. It has been a few days since my post, and since the post got a lot of traction, I decided to post an update. In the end, I made the decision to try psychedelics in order to try and understand my girlfriend's point of view better, as I truly love her. I and my girlfriend bought some magic shrooms from a trusted common friend and did it together in my apartment as I felt the safest there. We both consumed about 3.5 grams each, total of 7 grams. The trip was a blast, I figured as much, and we laughed, were intimate and had an overall great experience. It was unlike any other substance I've tried, but then again I'm the kind of guy who rarely consumes drugs or alcohol. After the trip, I felt my girlfriend was very focused on how my experience was, and I could see her face brightened up with excitement as she asked me about the trip afterwards. She probably wanted me to feel like this was some sort of spiritual thing just like she does, but in the end I felt like this was just like any other drug in the sense that it is a drug that manipulates a part of your body and mind. I could see she felt disappointed that I did not find this trip as spiritual and insightful as she does. I also realized why my girlfriend likes doing psychedelics, and I also sensed during the trip that she was trying to deal with a lot of personal issues. I don't have to go into detail, but it was regarding trauma, social anxiety and amongst other issues. I tried talking to her about therapy instead, but she strongly refused and she says it's a waste of money and time and this way is better and more fun. We have talked for hours and hours and I came to the conclusion that she won't be stopping this self-medication and that she has also planned for an out-of-country trip to take stronger psychedelics with a shaman in the future. I realized that our pathways in life don't align anymore and that her mindset is not that of someone I fell in love with. I fell in love with this smart, outgoing girl that loved video games and animals, but now she's more into spirituality and the afterlife than the present and science. I knew breaking up would be difficult for both of us, so I tried doing it in a sensible and calm way, but she was not as understanding as I thought. She started by crying and then rage ensued. Currently, I've been avoiding her, but she has been spamming me trying to get together again. Ironically enough, she has tried to get me to take DMT, as she says that if shrooms did not do the trick to convert me, DMT certainly will. I am done, thanks for all the replies in the previous post. And with that, we have reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's content, and if you did, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel to join our amazing community. Furthermore, don't forget to go to r/ripe stories on Reddit to post your own stories if you want me to read them out in a video. I hope you have a fantastic day and I see you again tomorrow.